my name is Dayana Escapita. I am currently a junior in Colorado State University, and this summer I had the privilege to participate in a course called Population, Natural Resources, and the Environment. It's a sociology course, and in this course, we talked a lot about how, the impact of humans and how what we traditionally find as important, like whether that's inflation or the economic market, or what we money value compared to environmental value. And honestly, I just wanted to talk about some important topics that I found in this course that were really inspiring and stuff like that, not only towards the environment, but our impact as humans towards the environment. One thing that I did want to mention is the fact that consistently, we humans are now at the top of the food chain when it comes to everything. We have been able to last various of decades alive in a way. People now survive more than how they used to survive back in the day, and I honestly find that amazing, but at the same time, we have been impacting a lot of what, for example, biodiversity, our soil, our land. We have been impacting that based off of consumer needs. And I just wanted to touch on that because if we think about it, if we start from the beginning, let's start with population. It has clearly increased over the years, and it's come to a certain point where it is now impacting our environment. Our sea levels are rising, the amount of pollution in the atmosphere is insane, our carbon footprint increases I don't even know how many times a year, and honestly we are losing our biodiversity. And I just wanted to I wanted to touch on the amount of for example, biodiversity that we are losing, only because we are used to what a human is used to here in the earth is very different from what we were accustomed to ever so years ago. And the consumer now is exceeding excessive amounts of honestly everything compared to what is what we have kind of idealized ourselves in oh, we really need this and we really need this, when we don't really need it. It's what we want, and it's now it now has been affected not only our earth, but our biodiversity in it, as well as our soil, which is very unfortunate, because we as humans should at least take that into consideration, or, bring awareness towards those topics. At least the majority of humans should, but we're so involved and we're so drawn into what material possessions we need back to the need question, and as well as what material possessions have been very much over switched towards environmental needs were at first were supposed to be first, but instead they're materialistic values or money needs, unfortunately, which is not really the case for a lot of other countries. And I'm talking towards not the countries that are on the west side of the world. We live here in the United States, but compared to for example Africa, or down south in Brazil, there's a lot of stuff that at least in the Western perspective that we think that we need, but we really don't need. And I just wanted to touch on that because let's bring awareness, let's really talk about it. In this course, I learned a lot about not only population, but waste, energy. I also learned about urban landscapes, climate change, carrying capacity, honestly, our literal carbon footprint. And it just sparks to me really how we have been honestly accustomed to different lifestyles. And some of the lifestyles that I would, for example, would be having easy transportation, being able to reuse and use water, the extreme amount of water that we use, for example, whether that's dishwashing, whether that's doing actual laundry, whether that's taking 15 to 20 minute showers. There's certain stuff that obviously consumes a lot of energy. That energy isn't all of that all of a sudden vanished. Like that energy stays in the atmosphere that eventually ends up impacting us. Not to mention, like, cargo ships. A lot of people order online. That is energy. A lot of people travel. That is energy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of energy that we take up as like consumers, and it's not always beneficial towards the environment. With that much carbon footprint being increased consistently, it impacts our air quality. Not to mention like the weather. With the weather, like we can see that like it's becoming to be a little bit more hotter. We see that there. It's honestly not only impacting us because we're like, oh, we're hot, we need AC. AC takes up a lot of energy that is impactful towards the atmosphere, towards, our air quality. Earth gets warmer. It's honestly, it is impacting a lot. And not just that, it's not even impacting us as humans because we're like, oh, so hot. It's impacting the biodiversity here in the earth. We see a lot of, like, for example, the sea levels, they're rising, and not just that, but the majority of the biodiversity in the sea is honestly dying. It's decreasing consistently only because the sea is getting warmer, and not just that, but like if we look at like landscapes, the majority of these forests are being cut down or not even being, they're being kept as pristine environments, unfortunately, but they're not really regenerating the earth at all. It's honestly being very impactful. We use the majority of like these graving like atmospheres to increase consumer inventory, but it's not healthy nor sustaining anything. It's honestly impacting the earth more, which is unfortunate, and it's very not like it isn't really like benefiting anyone, and it's not really educating anyone. It's only benefiting us economically, which is something that, like, it's very hard to talk about, like how economically things are valuable to us compared to what we really need. And what we really need right now is to kind of come into different idealizations, as well as like, values towards what we really think is important, not only for right now, but in the future. There's a lot of, we need, like, there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of things that we think is right. For example, like, if this is just an example, a farmer gets funded from the government, certain amount of, seeds, certain amount of water, certain amount of, products that they will use in their farm, instead of getting like teachings on how to sustain a farm. It's very much like we are being run by, governments that clearly want consumer-based, like, products and fast, instead of like looking for healthier options for our earth or our atmosphere. And I just wanted to touch on that only because, like, it's very important to me, like the political economy and the environmental aspect of everything. Like, there's a lot of dynamics when it comes to that, and it's something that I'm very passionate about. I would love to in the future eventually, like, educate those that aren't, or like honestly change the school systems when it comes to what we truly should value instead of what we think we should value just on a day-to-day basis, only because I like to think futurely ahead. And I know that in the future, this is gonna end up harming, either whether that's if we want kids or harming us when we're older. And definitely we should bring awareness to it, and I probably exceeded my limit, but I just wanted to touch on that, and I just wanted to just like bring a little bit of awareness, or bring a little bit of light of just the start of what we can actually do. Thank you.